Have you ever felt like your mind is constantly hopping from one thought to another, unable to concentrate for more than a few minutes? If so, know that you're not alone. In today's world, staying focused has become a huge challenge. Social media, endless notifications, information overload, and a fast-paced routine suck your attention away before you even realize it. But what if I told you there are techniques to train your brain to concentrate like a laser, eliminating distractions and boosting your productivity in a surprising way? The problem isn't just a lack of discipline. The modern world is designed to steal your attention, turning you into a hostage of endless cycles of stimuli that weaken your ability to focus. But the good news is you can take back control. Great geniuses in history, like Nikola Tesla and Leonardo da Vinci, knew that concentration is one of the most powerful weapons of the human mind. And now you too can learn to use it to your advantage. Many people believe that some individuals are simply born focused, while others are naturally scattered. That's a myth. Concentration is a skill that can be trained, and anyone can develop it. The difference between someone who achieves great results and someone who spends their life feeling perpetually busy but never productive lies in knowing how to direct attention to what truly matters. In this video, you'll discover proven strategies to strengthen your concentration and unlock a level of productivity you may have never experienced before. We're going to explore everything from practical techniques you can start using today to deeper concepts about how your mind works and how you can reprogram it to stay effortlessly focused. And listen up. By the end of this video, you won't be the same person. If you apply what you're about to learn here, your mind will become sharper, your tasks will be completed much more efficiently, and your ability to concentrate will be unshakable. So are you ready to transform the way you think and act? Concentration is the foundation of any significant achievement. Without focus, even the simplest tasks become challenging, and big dreams remain out of reach. Imagine trying to cross a bridge while the wind blows from every direction. That's a mind without concentration. In today's world, where distractions vie for your attention every second, mastering the art of staying focused is not just a differentiator, but a necessity for achieving maximum productivity and a more fulfilling life. The ability to concentrate directly impacts the quality of our daily actions and decisions. Think of a high-performance athlete. They not only train their body, but also their mind to remain focused, even under pressure. Similarly, anyone who wants to progress in any area needs to train their concentration like a muscle. Small habits, like turning off phone notifications during important activities, can drastically transform your productivity and mental clarity. Beyond its professional impact, concentration is also essential in personal life. Chatting with someone while checking messages on your phone isn't truly being present. Those who can give their full attention to a conversation build deeper, more meaningful connections. After all, a scattered mind is always somewhere it shouldn't be, in the past, in the future, or worrying about irrelevant problems. Those who master the art of focusing live more fully in the present. The problem is that many underestimate concentration, thinking it's something that just happens. It isn't. It's daily training, a skill refined through discipline and practice. Reading a book without grabbing your phone every 5 minutes, working without jumping from one browser tab to another, finishing one task before starting another. These are the small victories that shape a powerful mind. Those who learn to concentrate not only work better, but also live with greater purpose. But how do you develop this skill in a world where attention has become a currency? The answer lies in simple, effective strategies that help train your brain to filter what really matters. And the first one is fundamental: learning to focus on what you want, rather than wasting energy on what you don't. Most people spend more time worrying about what they don't want than investing energy in what they really desire. And that's where the mistake lies. The brain works like a radar. It amplifies whatever it focuses on. If your attention is on problems, difficulties, and fears, that's what will dominate your thoughts. But when you direct your focus towards solutions, growth, and clear objectives, reality starts to shift. That means training your mind to focus on what you want is one of the most powerful steps toward increasing productivity. Imagine an archer trying to hit the target. They don't worry about the wind, the noise around, or the possibility of missing. They simply aim and shoot. That's the mindset that should be cultivated. If your goal is to learn a new language, for example, instead of thinking, "I don't want to forget the words," it's better to reinforce, "I want to improve my vocabulary every day." A practical technique to train this focus is the reframing of thoughts. Whenever you notice yourself thinking about what you don't want, immediately switch to something positive. Instead of, "I don't want to fail the presentation," substitute it with, "I want to convey my message clearly." It may seem simple, but it reprograms your brain to act more confidently and decisively. After all, the mind obeys the command. It receives repeatedly. Another effective exercise is visualizing the desired outcome. Athletes do this before competitions. They imagine themselves winning, feeling the energy of the moment, anticipating every detail of victory. This isn't magic, it's neuroscience. The brain doesn't completely distinguish between what's real and what's intensely imagined. So, if you desire something, you need to see yourself achieving that goal even before it happens. This reinforces concentration and keeps motivation high. Training your mind to focus on what you want is the first step toward deep transformation. But for that change to be lasting, a daily commitment is necessary. Small actions repeated over time shape new mental patterns, and that's exactly the focus of the next strategy, practicing every day to strengthen concentration. Concentration doesn't appear out of nowhere. It needs to be cultivated every day. Just like a muscle that grows stronger with training, the mind also needs constant exercises to keep its focus sharp. And the best way to train is to dedicate at least 10 minutes a day to practices that promote mindfulness. It can be meditation, visualization, deep breathing, or even a moment of intentional silence. The secret is consistency, a little time, but every day. One of the most effective practices is meditation. Many people think meditating means emptying your mind, but really, it's about training it to return to the present whenever it drifts. Who hasn't caught themselves daydreaming in the middle of an important task? Meditation helps with that. It teaches your brain to disconnect from distractions and return to what truly matters. Apps like Headspace or Insight Timer are great for beginners who want to create this habit. Another powerful technique is visualization. Closing your eyes and imagining yourself performing a task with complete concentration creates a real impact on the brain. Top athletes use this strategy before competitions. Michael Phelps, for example, visualized every move of his race before even stepping into the water. The same principle can be applied in everyday life. Visualizing a productive day before you start your activities can make a significant difference in your performance. In addition to these techniques, small changes in your environment also help strengthen concentration. Creating an organized workspace, avoiding multitasking, and setting fixed times for strategic breaks are simple actions that increase productivity. Working with a timer in a Pomodoro style, focusing for 25 minutes and taking 5-minute breaks can be an excellent way to train your attention. The important thing is to realize that concentration is a trainable skill, and every small daily practice adds up to significant results. But there's one factor that many people ignore: silence. In today's world, where noise and endless information dominate, silence might seem uncomfortable. However, it's one of the greatest allies of concentration. And that's exactly what we're going to explore in the next section. Silence may feel uncomfortable for those who aren't used to it, but it's in silence that the mind finds clarity. In a world where notifications, social media, and constant noise compete for attention, the ability to disconnect and embrace silence becomes a true competitive advantage. Those who learn to value moments of quiet quickly notice an improvement in concentration, focus, and even productivity. After all, how can a mind organize ideas if it's constantly bombarded by external stimuli? Silence is training for the restless mind. At first, it might seem strange, almost unbearable, as if something were missing, but over time, it becomes a refuge, a space for mental recovery. Great geniuses in history, like Nikola Tesla and Albert Einstein, advocated for the importance of introspective moments to stimulate creative thinking and problem-solving. The brain needs silent breaks to process information and connect ideas more efficiently. Incorporating moments of silence into your daily routine doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as turning off your phone notifications for a few minutes, taking a walk without headphones, or setting aside 5 minutes just to observe your breathing. Small intervals of silence, spread throughout the day, help reduce anxiety, increase attention, and improve decision-making. An overloaded mind loses the ability to distinguish what's a priority, while a calm mind sees things clearly. Interestingly, silence isn't just about the absence of sound. It's also about the absence of mental noise. Often, even without external noise, your head is full of worries, doubts, and racing thoughts. The practice of conscious silence teaches you to calm that inner storm and allows the mind to work more organized and productively. And the more you train in this state of quiet, the more natural it becomes. The universe gives us a great example of this. In outer space, there is no sound, a vast environment full of energy yet completely silent. In the same way, the mind finds its true potential when it learns to silence the chaos. And that's the lesson we'll delve into in the next section. The universe operates in absolute silence. In outer space, where there is no air to carry sound, everything happens quietly but with impressive precision. Galaxies expand, stars are born, and planets orbit without any noise. This teaches us a powerful lesson. Silence doesn't mean inactivity. It means order, balance, and efficiency. Similarly, when the mind finds its own space of silence, focus and productivity multiply. In the hectic world we live in, silence has become a rare luxury. It's hard to find a moment without notifications, messages, or external interruptions. But those who learn to create their own inner outer space can access a deeper level of concentration. The mind needs that breathing space to organize information and generate insights. Great scientists and philosophers often sought isolation to think more clearly, and the same principle can be applied in everyday life. Imagine trying to hear a whisper amid a rock concert. That's the challenge for the mind when we try to concentrate amidst information overload. That's why it's essential to set aside moments of intentional silence, whether to reflect, plan, or simply give your mind a break. A practical example is establishing a silence period every day, like when you wake up, before you sleep, or even during a distraction-free walk. It may seem small, but it has a significant impact on your ability to stay focused. Besides helping productivity, silence also strengthens emotional intelligence. It teaches you to observe your own thoughts without clinging to them, creating a state of greater inner balance. Many people try to avoid silence because it forces them to face their own questions and insecurities. But it's precisely in that pause that we find the answers we're looking for. Outer space isn't disturbed by its vast, silent expanse. It simply exists. And that's the key to a more concentrated and peaceful mind. But to reach that level, of clarity and mental presence, you need to develop something even deeper: self-knowledge. Concentration is not just a productivity tool, but a path to spiritual and mental development, and that's the next step in this journey. Concentration goes far beyond simply staying focused on a task. It is a bridge to self-knowledge and personal evolution. Those who master their own minds can better understand their emotions, make more conscious decisions, and act with greater purpose. That's why so many spiritual traditions around the world emphasize the importance of mindfulness. Whether through meditation, prayer, or contemplation, training the mind to remain present is one of the most powerful paths to spiritual growth. A lack of concentration often stems from a restless and undisciplined mind. Who hasn't tried to focus on something important, only to be hijacked by random thoughts, worries, and distractions? This happens because the mind isn't used to following a clear direction. Establishing well-defined goals and creating a routine of discipline are essential steps to strengthening concentration. Something as simple as starting the day by planning your priorities makes a huge difference in your productivity level. Mental development is also directly linked to how we handle challenges. People with a higher level of concentration and self-awareness manage difficulties without being thrown off balance. They understand that every problem has a solution, and that the best way to find it is by keeping a clear and focused mind. A classic example is Stoic philosophy, which teaches us to accept what we cannot control and act intelligently on what is within our reach. The relationship between concentration and spiritual evolution also shows in the ability to see beyond the distractions of modern life. We live in a world that constantly tries to steal our attention, but those who train their minds to stay centered gain a superpower. They aren't swept away by external chaos because they have learned to find inner balance. True growth comes when we can silence the distractions and focus on what really matters. But there is something that profoundly influences this mental and emotional stability: the energy of your own body. And this is where the importance of chakras comes in, acting as centers of strength responsible for our physical, mental, and spiritual balance. Concentration isn't just a mental matter. It's also directly connected to the body's energy. In spiritual traditions, chakras are seen as centers of power that regulate our emotional, mental, and physical stability. When they're balanced, the mind becomes more focused and productive. But when there are energetic blockages, thoughts become scattered, emotions unstable, and productivity plummets. Taking care of your internal energy is essential to maintaining clarity and focus. Each chakra has a different influence on concentration. The root chakra, for example, is responsible for a sense of security and stability. When it's misaligned, the mind becomes restless and anxious. The third eye chakra, located on the forehead, governs intuition and the ability to visualize goals clearly. People who struggle to stay focused often have imbalances in these energetic centers, and the good news is that it's possible to work on these imbalances with simple practices. Guided meditation, the use of crystals, and even diet directly influence chakra balance. Natural foods like root vegetables, carrots, beets, strengthen the root chakra, while foods rich in omega-3s like walnuts and fish aid in mental clarity. In addition, breathing exercises such as alternate nostril breathing, pranayama, are excellent for aligning energy and strengthening the capacity to concentrate. Small daily adjustments can make a big difference. Another way to keep your energy balanced is through movement. Practices like yoga and Tai Chi not only improve flexibility and strength, but also teach the mind to remain present. When the body is relaxed and energy flows without blockages, staying focused becomes natural. Have you ever noticed how hard it is to concentrate when your body is tense or when you're extremely fatigued? The body and mind are connected, and energy needs to circulate freely to ensure high performance. But even with all this preparation, it's inevitable that negative thoughts will pop up from time to time. And rather than trying to forcefully eliminate them, the secret lies in learning to accept them and channel them into something positive. Negative thoughts are part of the human experience. Most people try to run from them, ignore them, or fight them directly, but this effort often has the opposite effect. They become even more persistent. The mind works like a river. If you try to dam it forcefully, it becomes more turbulent. But when you accept its flow, you can guide it intelligently. The key isn't to eliminate negative thoughts, but to learn to deal with them without letting them affect your concentration and productivity. Imagine someone who needs to give an important presentation, but is overwhelmed by the fear of making a mistake. The more that person tries to push away the thought, "What if I fail?" the more it gains strength. The solution is different from what many think. Instead of denying the anxiety, you need to acknowledge it and reprogram it. A simple exercise is to transform negative thoughts into productive questions. Instead of, "What if I fail?" train your mind to think, "What can I do to better prepare myself?" Another effective method is therapeutic writing. Setting aside 5 minutes a day to put all your worries and insecurities on paper helps relieve mental overload. The simple act of externalizing negative thoughts reduces the emotional weight they carry. Often when we read what worries us, we realize that much of what haunts us has no real basis. This frees up mental space for concentration and focus on productive activities. Moreover, what really determines the impact of a thought isn't its existence, but the importance we give it. A Buddhist monk once compared thoughts to clouds in the sky. They come and go, but the sky remains the same. If we can observe our thoughts without clinging to them, we maintain mental stability. And this practice strengthens over time, becoming a true shield against distractions and mental blocks. But what happens when these negative thoughts are part of something bigger? We all carry both light and shadow within us, and ignoring this duality can take us away from balance. To develop a truly strong mind, it's necessary to understand the importance of balance between light and darkness. Every human being carries within them two opposing forces, light and darkness. Society teaches us that we should seek only the light, ignoring or repressing our darker aspects. But what few realize is that denying this duality is denying one's very essence. The balance between these two poles is what allows true mental and spiritual growth. The secret isn't in eliminating one side, but in harmonizing them so they work in our favor. Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychologists in history, spoke about the shadow, the part of us that carries fears, insecurities, and repressed impulses. Instead of trying to run away from it, he argued that we should understand and integrate it. This means acknowledging our flaws without guilt, understanding our emotions without resistance, and transforming weaknesses into learning. Those who truly know themselves become stronger because they do not fear themselves. Think about the duality of day and night. Without darkness, we'd never appreciate the light. Without challenges, we'd never evolve. Great leaders and thinkers throughout history went through periods of deep doubt and suffering before achieving their greatest feats. The difference between those who get lost and those who grow lies in how they deal with their own extremes. Those who accept their shadow learn to use it as fuel for action. In the context of concentration, understanding this duality is essential. Many distractions stem from unresolved internal conflicts. When the mind is at peace with its own contrasts, it's much easier to maintain focus and direct energy toward what really matters. It's like a warrior who knows both their strengths and weaknesses. He doesn't enter battle unprepared, but with full awareness of what needs to be done. But there's a great danger at the other extreme: radicalism, both on an individual and social level. Extremism leads to the destruction of mental clarity. And if balance is essential for concentration, extremes are the biggest enemies of productivity and personal development. Radicalism is one of the greatest enemies of concentration. Whether in the realm of emotions, opinions, or behavior, when someone clings to a rigid and inflexible view, they lose the ability to see beyond it. An extremist mind does not reason clearly because it's always reacting instead of reflecting. This constant state of tension drains mental energy, reduces productivity, and prevents balanced decision-making. In daily life, this manifests in various ways: excessive perfectionism, destructive self-criticism, fanaticism for ideas or beliefs. A person who demands perfection in everything they do never manages to move forward because they're always paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake. A professional who sees only one path to success ignores valuable opportunities along the way. Balance is the real secret to maintaining focus and concentration without being swept away by extremes. The impact of extremism can also be seen in how we consume information. Today, we live in a world of polarized opinions, where most people stick to bubbles that reinforce their own thoughts. This phenomenon, known as confirmation bias, reduces mental flexibility and prevents new ideas from being absorbed. Those who want to maintain concentration and productivity need to learn how to filter information and cultivate an open mindset. The best way to avoid falling into extremism is to develop critical thinking. Instead of reacting impulsively to an idea or situation, it's important to ask, does this make sense? Where does this information come from? Is there another perspective I haven't considered yet? This simple habit strengthens the ability to discern, making the mind more focused and less vulnerable to external distractions. But merely understanding the importance of balance isn't enough. Concentration requires continuous practice and effort. It's not enough to just wish for change. It's necessary to act every day to strengthen the mind and build a disciplined routine. Concentration doesn't happen by accident. Many people believe that it's enough to have willpower to stay focused, but the truth is that without discipline, any attempt to improve productivity becomes fleeting. The brain needs to be trained to concentrate, and that requires daily practice. Just as an athlete trains their body to reach excellence, the mind also needs constant training to remain steadfast in the face of distractions. The first step in this training is creating a structured routine. Fixed schedules for work, study, and rest help the brain enter the ideal state for concentration. Great minds like Leonardo da Vinci, Isaac Newton, and Benjamin Franklin followed rigid routines to maximize their productivity. Defining blocks of time for important tasks, eliminating unnecessary interruptions, and respecting strategic breaks are actions that exponentially boost mental performance. Another powerful technique is setting daily goals. Having a clear objective for each day reduces procrastination and keeps motivation high. A good method for this is the 1-3-5 system. Define one big task, the most important of the day, 3 medium tasks, and 5 small tasks. This way, there's a balance between progress and productivity without mental overload. The more you practice this organization, the more natural it becomes. However, planning alone isn't enough. It's essential to execute. Many people spend too much time preparing, researching, and planning, but then fail to act. Discipline comes from repeated action. If your goal is to improve concentration, setting aside 10 to 15 minutes every day for practices like reading, meditating, or writing creates a positive long-term impact. The secret is to turn focus into a non-negotiable habit. And for those who wait to feel motivated before acting, here's a reminder: motivation comes after action, not before. Those who wait for the perfect moment to start something never get anywhere. Discipline is the bridge between desire and achievement. And now that you have all the tools to strengthen your concentration, here's the most important question. Are you ready to put them into practice? Now that you know the strategies to unlock all the power of your concentration, here comes the most important question. Are you just going to absorb this knowledge or actually put it into practice? Most people consume amazing content, but never take that first step to change. And the truth is, without action, nothing changes. Your mind will remain scattered, your productivity will stay low, and time will keep slipping through your fingers. So, what are you going to do with all of this? Imagine how different your life would be if you applied these techniques every day. If you could stay focused on any task without getting distracted by notifications, random thoughts, or procrastination. Think about the number of projects you could complete, the level of mental clarity you'd have, and the positive impact it would bring to your career, your relationships, and your quality of life. What's stopping you from reaching that level of mental mastery? Remember, concentration isn't some mysterious talent reserved for a few. It's a muscle that needs to be trained. Small daily changes, like eliminating distractions, practicing silence, training to accept negative thoughts, and developing discipline can completely transform your ability to focus. But only those who apply what they learn can reap the results. So, the decision is in your hands. And before you go, let me know in the comments, which of these strategies are you already using, and which one will you start applying today? Your experience might inspire others to take that first step. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. This way, you keep learning and evolving with me. Because if there's one thing I can guarantee, it's that we still have a lot to explore about the power of the mind.